All right, guys, take two. Um, just heads up, this is the second time me going through this. Um, had some technical difficulties, so we're gonna try it again here. So again, this is Mark, Sabretooth, Tiger, all the names you may know me by. Um, I can't think of them all right now. But this is me giving you my semi-weekly update about what's been going on with me since my surgery. Um, so what I want to do is kind of go over some things that have taken place and how I'm doing. So the first thing is I'm doing great. I don't feel like super hungry all the time. Um, you know, I have a lot more energy. I'm getting up and doing things more and a little bit more functional. As you may have seen or I did have a cane. I don't necessarily have to use that anymore. Not necessarily, I didn't, for those who are worried, it wasn't like I was, um, you know, handicapped or something was going on. It was just um, walking took a lot out of me sometimes, and I may need the cane to lean on. Um, and and I just wasn't fast enough to get back to some spot where I'd be able to rest. In other words, um, that I won't say is all gone, but it's a lot better now. I actually have enough energy to one of the big things that I used to enjoy. I'm getting back. I'm not perfect at it yet. One also, I'm a little older, so the bones creak, just to put it like that. But back to dancing. Been able to move a little bit better now. Um, and things are going a lot better. I mean, it's progressing. Again, it's not been even a full month, so I can't necessarily make any quick judgments just yet. But I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Let's just say it like that. Let me turn on this light a little bit. That's kind of bothering me. I don't know where my light is here. But otherwise, I'm doing pretty well. So things are going. Um, and I'm going to talk about some things that have kind of been affecting me. Whoops. Oops. Um, there we go. Whether it's negatively. Whoops. Oh, nah, not that. I like that better. Whether it be negatively or even positively, I'm going to kind of speak on those things. So let's get started. So, first and foremost, about last week, around the 17th, I was finally able to start eating solid proteins or semi solid proteins. For example, that would be like ground beef, um, ground pork, sausage, and shredded like chicken and stuff like that. Um, so that was exciting because I'd been eating tuna fish for first 2 weeks, and that kind of starts to wear on you at a certain point. So one of the negative impacts of having this surgery that uh, goes along with it, two of them actually, is your mental health, and then also um, a syndrome that people kind of call dumping. I experienced my first dumping bout. Now, before you cut off and turn away, it's not as bad as you might think. It's not like, I mean, there is possibility of needing to be in the bathroom, as you might say, quite a bit. But honestly, it varies from person to person. So, frankly, you shouldn't, when somebody says that or tells you about that, shouldn't take that and just think, oh, this is going to be horrible. It kind of just comes with how your body reacts to it. I'll explain a little bit about that, but let me explain kind of what the syndrome kind of is or feels like. It basically is your body reacting to either being over full or having the wrong, not being able to digest something that you've eaten, or not as fast anyway. So some people experience, you know, about a, let's just say it, call a spade, diarrhea. And they're just in the bathroom the whole day or, for a certain amount of time. Which, by the way, from what I've experienced, and people can correct me differently if it happened to you differently, but dumping isn't a whole day experience. It's more like a situational. So as soon as whatever you ate passes, usually you may take a nap and then you're back at it. So that's one positive about it. But some people experience bouts of diarrhea. Some people vomit. Others, like me in my case, my situation was I more just had like flu-like symptoms. I didn't necessarily go vomit or, sit on the toilet all day. It was just more like I felt like a dizzy, nauseous type feeling. That's really all it was. Whereas I know the way it was explained to me, I thought I was just gonna be like just spewing stuff out of both of my orifices and you know like I'd been possessed or something, which didn't necessarily happen. Now, again, I knew to recognize it when it started happening, so it wasn't as bad. Others might experience it worse or whatnot. Again, and it also depends on how your body reacts to things. But let me explain what happened, and that might kind of give some perspective on what it is, and if you feel like it's worth to even go through with it. So, like I said, I was able to eat semi-solid foods. So one of the first things I decided to eat, because I had been longing for it, was basically ground beef or ground pork, sausage, or something like that. And I wanted to mix it up with eggs. It's a staple in my house: scrambled eggs and cheese and like ground beef or something. So I put my ground pork in the pan, and I didn't have that much. It's probably about that much, if you can see that. Maybe 2 pinches or so. So it wasn't a lot. Maybe like enough to feel like I'd say maybe a tenth or a quarter of a pan. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough that when I put the scrambled eggs would cover it, and you'd still be able to see the meat. So put that in there, cook that, And then I said, okay, next thing I need is to make scrambled eggs. Now, scrambled eggs, put it in a bowl. You scramble it up. As I'm scrambling it up, I have one egg in there. And I look down and I'm saying, that's not going to be enough. Which brings up another point. First and foremost, after going through this surgery and basically being on, for lack of a better phrase, a diet, this diet, I started to realize that American proportions are way off. We eat way more than we need to survive. Just an example, going to McDonald's or anything like that, and you get like a Big Mac and fries and a drink, and you think the medium is the norm, is what's healthy. No, that's like 3 times the norm. Like, honestly, probably the kids' meal is what an adult should be eating. And even worse, even still, like, the amount of bread, potatoes, and just even the drink in general is a lot larger than you need. And I'm really starting to notice that. And it's not just off of the diet and the doctors telling me these things. So that's something I'm going to do another video and talk to about, for a lot of people who have friends who are overweight and they assume telling them is going to make them lose weight or want to lose weight. It's not what you say, it's what you experience. That's a message for those out there. My drinking juice in the hood, or don't be a menace fans know what I'm talking about. That's a message for you. It's not about what somebody tells you, it's what you experience. And the experiences that I'm realizing now is that I can eat a little, and so little that I didn't realize that I can eat and manage to the next 4 hours and be all right. Like, I don't need to eat so much in one sitting and be starved or not be starved. Like, a little bit goes a long way, in other words. But the other thing is, my mom, I was talking to her over the phone. She said something that her mother used to tell her that I'm experiencing now with this. Your eyes are a lot bigger than your stomach. And I didn't realize, I realized that's a saying and whatnot, but it's really true when you start to go through this. So back to what I was doing, I actually looked at that one scrambled egg. And I said that wasn't going to be enough, so I scrambled up another one, put it together, thinned it out. You know how you usually do, put some milk in there to thin it up. I actually did water, which is a hood thing. But anyway, put some water in it to thin it out or make it a little more softer and spread it out a little bit. And then I poured it over my sausage, my pork, my ground pork, and scrambled it all up. And you're thinking, okay, that's a pretty small size meal. Filled out just a little bit of the pan. And I'm like, okay, this is good. I put it in a bowl. I'm like, this is good. This is not going to be too much. I'm going to be able to handle this. Let me tell you, after 3 or 4 bites, I was done. I was done. And I know to some people that's like amazing and you must have been starving. No, I was done. But again, the mind trick. I Okay, I grew up in a family and household where if you put it on your plate, you finish your plate. So I have to come to terms with, because I haven't fully gotten there yet, but I have to come to terms with, you gotta eat with Tupperware, basically, because you're not gonna finish your plate, and you're gonna need to put it away for later, or set it down and wait 2 or 3 hours to your next meal and eat it then. And it's so hard when you're in the middle of it because you're really thinking like, this shouldn't be too much, but it was. And I incorporated, one of the things I learned from my dietitian, where you actually take a bite and you wait 10 minutes and so on and so forth. And that's a normal thing you're supposed to do. But what I ended up doing was I kept doing that until I fully finished that plate. So it took me about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to finish, which is another normal thing. Like, you shouldn't be eating in 30 minutes. It's gonna take a while to fully eat. That keeps you from starving and filling yourself up. But the thing is, this is where the dumping came into effect. I forced myself to finish that plate because, again, the psyche was telling me I gotta finish it. So when I finished it, while I was stuffed, that's when all the nausea and, oh, I gotta lay back. I think this is where the itis comes into play that everybody gets on the holidays. So this is very appropriate. But I started to feel that, and I laid back. Now, here's the thing: when you actually experience this, again, it's not as bad as you might hear it. Really, what it is your body trying to pass or digest everything you just kind of forced in. So honestly, after I laid back for maybe 30 minutes, I'm not gonna lie, I probably passed out and went to sleep for like 45 minutes. I woke up and it was perfectly fine. I wasn't hungry. I didn't need to go to the bathroom. One other thing that does happen that you may need to be aware of or not know about, after having this surgery, there's a lot of gas. And you hear that, I know everybody's probably laughing right now. But it's real. And it's not necessarily from the back end. Some of it's a lot of burping. But it really is, remember, your stomach is smaller now. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Like, this big now. So with it being smaller, all those stomach fluids, those acids, are a lot closer to your esophagus, and they lead out through your digestive system faster. So when you're full and all those chemicals are working together to digest things, plus, to actually do this surgery, they had to put air in your stomach. So with all that combined, you basically have a lot of gases coming out. So when you eat too much and your I say, like, the factory is working to digest your food, it's a lot of just just like if you look at any factory and you see the little stacks of just puffing air come out, there's a bunch of that. A bunch of just gases coming out. You're burping. And I'm not going to lie to you. You're probably laying on your stomach. You're probably not trying to lay on your stomach, but you're laying there and you're passing gas. That's really it. Um, I mean, It sounds vulgar, but I mean it's real. Um, so I did a lot of that. I didn't go to the bathroom, didn't do all that stuff, but it does pain me. The one thing I want to state about that, as I kind of adjust here, let me, there we go. The one thing that I do want to note about that, a lot of this, as I said earlier, is based on your physiology, on how your body takes things. I spoke about ground pork and ground beef being something I was excited to finally be able to eat, and so on and so forth. I know some people who still can't eat beef and they're 9 months after. And I don't mean like a steak. They really just can't eat beef. Or they can't eat pork, or just certain things. I mean, it all depends on your physiology and how it works for you, which is kind of what was happening to me last week. I was doing a lot of experimenting, trying to figure out, you know, what it is that's going to work for me and what's not. So you kind of have to give yourself some time and have some patience and really pay attention to your body. Because while feeling that sensation that I felt, where it was like the dumping syndrome, could have went really bad and made me feel like I can never eat pork again. But I realized it wasn't the pork; it was actually the amount, a portion I was eating. Again, because I did it the next day and halved everything that I made, and I was perfectly fine. So again, it's just you've got to really pay attention to what you actually eat now, and that's one of the things that I had to do. And the big thing was, after experiencing that, there was more of a mental, I wouldn't say breakdown, but a mental awareness that kind of went into play. And it kind of made me start questioning whether I made the right decision or not. Because let's be real, this is a surgery. This is an actual life altering surgery. This isn't like, I took a molar out or anything like that, or my tonsils or anything. This isn't like getting a BBL or getting breast enhancements. This is serious. I readjusted internal organs. And I'm not sure, I might have to check with my doctor, and I'm not wanting to do this, but I don't think you can reverse this. So that was something that, I've spoken to other people who've gone through this surgery, that your mind does play that trick on you. You do have that. It's kind of like a small depression where you're just like, because here's what happens. I realized last week, I'm no longer going to be able to eat a meal like normal. And hear what I'm saying, quote unquote, normal, in the sense of society, of our society, where a Big Mac and all that stuff, which honestly is not the normal. It's the norm for a society. But the truth is that's way too big anyway. So I'm still adjusting my mentality on that. But the reality of it is just one of those things where you have to come to terms with, you're not going to be able to eat two burgers at one time. You're not going to be able to, you might not even be able to eat a burger in the sense of the way you used to with bread and all that, you're probably going to need to hold the bread. You're not going to be able to eat 4-course meals, and here's the thing. It's not necessarily that you won't be able to eat those, but you're not going to be able to sit down across from somebody and finish your plate, as I said at the beginning of this. And that kind of weighed on me because there's a lot of things. The fat kid in me came out. There's a lot of things that I've been wanting to try that I'm realizing I'm probably not going to, not necessarily be able to try, but I'm not going to be able to fully I won't even say enjoy, because that's a mind trip in its own, because I'll be able to enjoy it, but I just won't be able to fully sit down and grasp a whole meal of it. I can't eat like a whole lobster in one sitting. You know what I'm saying? Really what's going to happen is I may be able to eat like few bites. And I've heard from other people who've had the surgery that eventually you can start eating larger meals, maybe 2 years down the line. So I'm sure I'm looking forward to that, and that'll be okay. But just to maintain the weight anyway, I'm fixating my mind on the reality that what I'm going to end up needing to do is, like I said with the Tupperware, save a lot of what I eat or eat smaller portions in its entirety. So when I go out to eat with my friends and they want to get steaks and everybody's talking about getting the biggest steak possible, for me it's going to be like that 3-ounce steak is cool. And everybody's going to be like, bro, you're paying $12 for that? And you could get, an 8-ounce for 20 or something. Bro, I don't need all that. And you shouldn't need all that. And if I do order that, I'm going to eat 3 ounces here anyway and put the rest away and maybe come back to it 2 days later. And that's just the reality. And again, like I said, just the mind realizing that kind of put me in a headspace of a little depression for a moment. But once I kind of kicked myself out of that and realized, bro, this is, in the long term, my mind, where my body is going to be, will get over that. Because, I've witnessed friends and people that I've seen who've gone through this, who are 6-9 months down the line from where I'm at, who've lost hundreds, 200 pounds. And I'm thinking 6 months from now, when I'm 200 pounds lighter and I'm healthier, that's really the thing, which is going to be another thing, another topic I'm going to talk about in a different video. Speaking on how, because I know there's a lot of people out there who have friends they want to lose weight or trying to get them to lose weight. The issue is not you telling them or having them look at the scale. That's not going to help. It's like you can't tell a you can't tell an addict to stop doing drugs because you're looking at them and saying they look horrible. That's not going to help them. It's not going to get them to stop. An addict has to want to stop themselves because they have to experience it. They have to feel like it's time to stop. You can't make somebody stop by saying you look bad or this is not good or you should try keto. I had so many people tell me that. And the reality of it is, it might have worked for them, but it didn't work for me. And it's not because, and people will say, well, you didn't do it right or you didn't stick with it. That's true. But that might just be because my mentality or the way I was built, my chemistry didn't allow me to be able to handle it the way you did. That's just facts. So that's another topic. Like I said, I'm going to talk about in a different video. And I'm really passionate about that, as you can tell. But my point is, there's a lot of factors that I've been dealing with over the last week or so, trying to get my mindset right and realizing that I don't have to eat too much. I don't have to eat like I used to, and I shouldn't, and I should be okay with that. The only thing that I'm really like hate, because anybody who knows me, I was a drinker. Not a drinker like an when I say that, I shouldn't say that way. A lot of people think like you're an alcoholic. That's not what I mean. I mean like I love like Kool-Aid or something like that, and just drinking juice all day. Yes, you still have to drink water, and, things all day. First off, I didn't like water. I hate just straight water. I always have to put enhancements and stuff with it, which you can do. Sugar-free ones are the best. But the reality of it is, I have to do what I call sipping now. I can't gulp. So that's a big change. And that sucks because anybody who knows me, I could take a whole glass of fruit juice, drink that, and be like, thanks, can I get another? Now it's sip, sip, sip. 32 ounces could take me half a day to get through. Which again is good on my grocery bills, but it just sucks because you're constantly thirsty because you're just thinking, oh man, I just want to guzzle this down, but it ain't gonna fit like that. But on that note, I'm gonna end it here, and I'm gonna say that it's not it's not all bad. I know I kind of harped on some of the bad things, but it's actually pretty cool to realize that I can live off of those small details and not have to eat so much anymore. And I'm perfectly fine. It's not something that I ideally thought was going to be great, but it's starting mentally for me to let it click and go, this is actually a good thing because I'm not going to overstuff myself. I'm not going to have issues with high blood pressure or anything like that because I'm not going to be eating so much bad stuff, especially in one sitting. So on that note, I'm going to end it and say, yeah, man, I'm doing great, feeling great, and I have a lot more energy and things are going good. And I'll keep you updated again one more week from here. I'm also going to be trying to do 2 or 3 more videos this week. Like I said, on the 2 topics I was speaking about, the one on helping somebody who you know is overweight and how to kind of approach them and how to realize that what you think you're doing that's helping probably isn't helping. That's not going to get them to lose weight. And then also, I'll probably do a video on things that, I don't know. I'll think. I just got a couple of different videos I'm going to start posting about this because this has become an interesting topic about my life. Oh, I'm going to talk about multivitamins too, which something you're definitely going to need to be into if you have this surgery because you don't get all the nutrients in one sitting as you used to anyway. So that's one thing. But yeah, and all in all, it's all good. It's all good. So on that note, I'm going to end it. Peace.